Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I hope you're okay. Wanderley is fighting with his camera, so the score now is 1,000 points to the camera, 0 for Wanderley.
Very true.
We keep fighting here, you know. We hope.
Keep fighting, yeah. Technology sometimes.
Yeah.
Leave us alone.
We hope Wanderley won this battle here. So happy.
I hope so.
I hope you're okay, my friends. Good to see you all here with us today. We keep going in our studies. Today we're going to chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Blessed are the afflicted. Again, we divide these in many parts because in 1 hour it's kind of impossible to discuss or share some ideas about everything. But anyway, and today is the part 1 of chapter 5. So hello to my friends here. Kaká, my dear friend, missing you. How are you, my dear? Nuno from Portugal. Good to see you here, Nuno. Thank you for attending our talk today. Our friends from Ireland, from UK, from Brazil, and especially our dear friends from America. So good to have you all here with us today and sharing this moment of exchange of knowledge. That's we call here exchange of knowledge, because we needed to do it. But anyway, so I will do the initial prayer, and let's start. Meanwhile, it's about to join. You can see a lot of people is joining us. So I would like to ask everyone to raise up your thoughts to the superior spirits, reaching out to our mentors of this group, mentors of our country. Ask them to fill us up with joy, with courage, in order to fight, in order to overcome all the barriers we need to face on our daily basis. And while we are transposing these barriers, we learn how to act, when to act, learning what's the consequences of our actions. Also, we would like to ask these good thoughts reach out to our brothers and sisters who are sick, who are in the hospitals, who are home, those who are living on the streets. So be it. Amen. Okay, so far so good. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, so today, as we said, we will start to talk about blessed are the afflicted. And when we talk about blessed are the afflicted, the main thing come up to our mind, those who are familiar with the gospel according to Spiritism, or even though with the lessons from the Bible, reach out to some sermon, the Mount Sermon,
Sermon of the Mount.
Sermon of the Mount, but the Bem-aventuranças, how it's the
I think
Yeah. So
yeah.
the lessons Jesus gave on the Sermon on the Mount. In one of them are, blessed are they who weep, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are they who suffer persecution because of righteousness, for the kingdom of their heaven in theirs. So the point here, who are the weep as they will shall comforted? We need to understand that the weep is those who are suffering right now, okay? Are those who, in the present life today, they do have problems, they do have barriers to face, they do have afflictions, they do have fears, but somehow they do have strengths, patience, and they keep going. Regardless what happened to them, regardless what the consequences they are facing, they move on. They keep fighting. They do not put themselves in a self-pity position. They put not themselves in a lower position. They understand. They fight for it, and they overcome it. Okay. At the same time, we need to understand. We need to kind of, what's the word? Evaluate. That's the word. We need to evaluate our actions. We need to evaluate our decisions. We need to evaluate our way to think. We need to evaluate how we see things. Okay? Because having one single view, having one single perspective of everything all the time is not correct. We will change. How are we going to change? We will change according to our experiences we acquired over the time. So, as much as experience we acquire, as much as our behavior, our not principles, but our point of view, we will change because we acquired something new. We acquired something that it's a no for us. For example, like I didn't have this kind of knowledge last year, but this year I do have this knowledge, do have this sense, and with this knowledge, I kind of discovered a new word. Okay, so and that's the point we needed to trigger our discussion today. Okay, so Wanderley, after the fight, what's
My camera won, but I'm still keep going. But my camera now.
Yeah, no, but it's nice now. You turn on the light now. It's better, way better.
Yeah. But guys, I would like to go back here a little bit to the text, because if we ask, why would Jesus say to us, blessed are the afflicted, or blessed are the ones who suffer? So if once we hear that, it may make sense to us if we think about the future life. Because if we don't think about any future life, what's the point of me being blessed if I'm suffering? If everything's going to end just in one life, which could be 35, 40, 50, 60, or 80 years. Doesn't matter how many years. Okay. Then if you believe in a future life, that may makes some sense. But still, it doesn't really explain why God made me suffer, why God made the other suffer, why God made my neighbor suffer, or why God made someone else who is really bad not suffer at all, and someone who is really good uh, be suffering, I don't know, a lot of troubles in their lives. So then we have to understand that if God gave that to us, we have to work, we have to understand one principle before. If we believe in God, and this God cannot be like us, this God doesn't look like me and Steven, otherwise, poor God, you know. But this God is
It's
something
great.
beyond. Yes, he's not even his, because we cannot say his or she or it. It's something which we don't have a proper name, the way to describe and the way to describe. But this force must be much more intelligent than us, and much more clever, and must be good also. So once we go back to the Spiritist book says that God is the eternal power, eternal love, He's the entire wisdom of the universe. So once we admit the existence of God and this type of God, so then I cannot really conceive that God gave something bad to me or to someone else, and vice versa. And this action is not just, because remember, God is 100% just. Otherwise, He would not be God. So if God is 100% just, maybe what I'm suffering or someone else is suffering is just also. But how can that be just if I don't remember what happened with me before in the past? Then here in the Gospel according to Spiritism, item 4, causes of the present day afflictions. It says in item 4, the vicissitudes of life are of two kinds, if you prefer, stem from two different sources that are important to distinguish. Some have their cause in the present life, while others arise in this present life. So here he's saying to us, all the suffering which I may have in this life has only two causes, or something which comes from the past life, or my actions which I'm doing right now in this life. And as Steven said brilliantly, a lot of times we don't know what we are doing, and we keep doing, and we don't know any better, and we keep making mistakes, and we change ourselves. And André Luiz says to us before also, and Kardec will confirm here, that a lot of times we believe that everything that we are suffering comes from a previous life. And in general, 8% of the things that we are suffering doesn't come from a past life. It's from today. It's from the actions which I do today. Of course, we are talking about normal lives that we have here. People who thank God has, we can say, a normal life. We are not talking about that cases where someone maybe was born blind, maybe was born with a mental problem, or maybe was born in a really difficult physical or mental situation. In this case, 100% sure that came from a previous life. Because how could a baby have done something bad if he's just born? So then we can presume that maybe was something that he did in his previous life. Or we have a third option, which we have here.
That's it. That's it. Go to the third
Yeah,
option.
yeah, because we have to understand that not all the sufferings that we are having in this life, it's because I did something bad in the previous life. Maybe it's something which I chose myself as a expiation for me, as a way for me to improve myself. So let's put like this: I was in the spiritual world, and then I really want to progress in this life. Um, let's say about, I don't know, I want to improve my patience, or I want to improve my way of accepting my resilience. And what's the best way to experience resilience than to be born, for example, in a mental, in a body with mental problem, for example. I'm just giving an example, okay, guys? That's not a rule. Please do not interpret my words in a different way from what I'm saying. I'm just give an example. So sometimes that spirit will choose to be born in a body with a mental problem, to be not to be suffering, but to not really to be able to 100% use his free will.
Yeah, Wanderley, I think the best example we can give here is like, for example, if you are a diabetic and you want to improve your health, okay, and you start to having a kind of diet without sugar, okay, in order to overcome this, if you go to a region, if you change the diet of your entire family in order, okay, no more sugar here, no this, you will easily overcome it because everybody's supporting you, nobody's eating sugar beside you. Okay, so the point here, did you use your strengths in order to avoid the sugar? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because you stick to the point, but no, because everybody was helping you. However, if you are diabetic and you are living in a family who eats sweets every day, every time someone is cooking a sweet thing, and then you need to resist to that. So that's the point Wanderley is saying here. Sometimes,
No.
no, no, I'm saying this. Sometimes we need to born in an environment which put our free will, our choices in jeopardy in order to make us sure that our decision it is that point. So if we need to again, I think when they like this example as well. When you pray to God in order to ask for patience, God will not send you 1 kilo of patience packed through the Amazon. The guy will ring your bell and say, "Oh, here's your 2 kilo of patience." No, they will not give you 2 kilo of patience. What's gonna happen? God will allow you go through opportunities in order to exercise your patience. So you're going passing through problems or situations in which you will need to work your patience. So it's your, at the end, it's your individual merit. It's your own efforts in order to cultivate, in order to practice these patience. So, when the lady didn't agree with me.
No, I agree. But what I'm trying to say, I'm talking more about a little bit more in a difficult case, in deep cases, where someone is born with some really a real problem, a really physical problem, which could not have been led to an action that he did in his life. That's the action. That's the ones which I'm. These are the case which I'm trying to bring here. So sometimes the spirit is born blind or is born with a problem related to his health, and maybe it's not something that he did in a previous life, but maybe he chose that illness in order to learn more resilience, or in order maybe to face that experience in order to be a more patient spirit, or maybe he's going to be choosing that physical problem because perhaps in other case maybe he made it that kind of suffer to the others. But what I'm trying to say here, and I agree with Stevan now, that all the suffering that we have in our lives, we can put like they come from 3 different sources, okay? Something which I did in the previous life, something which I do in this life, or something which maybe I chose. But all of them comes related to me. It's not God who gave to me and say, I want Wanderley to
My
suffer this
choice.
time. It's
It's
your
my
choice.
choice.
If we don't remember, it was your choice. That's what the Spirit brings to us, that sometimes the Spirit goes through an entire reincarnation. Like say, a spirit has 2 ways of suffering, of facing his suffering. As Kardec says in the Gospel according to Spiritism, the good suffer and the good way of suffering or the bad way of suffering. So let's say I have a physical problem. Instead of giving out, instead of complaining my entire life, instead of saying, "Oh, why did I born like this? Why my life is like this? Why did I born in this kind of family?" The spirit accept. He is resilient. He thinks, okay, I believe in a beautiful God. So if that come to me, there must have a reason, because this God is a good God. But he's not fighting. He's not like all the time complaining. And what does he try to do? Does he sit on the corner and say, I'm going to be living my life like this because I believe in God? No, he tries to fight with this. He tries to deal with the situation with the best of his abilities in order to pass through that experience in a good way of suffering with resilience. Because then, what I'm trying to say here, that it's everything's our choice in one way or in the other way. Always it comes back to us. But then Kardec says here to us, how many fail through their own faults? How many destroy themselves through the lack of discipline? How many are in kind of bad relationships, and this kind of relationships is destroying them, but they have no courage to leave, or they have no, or they are in that relationship not because they really love each other, because of some interests. Or how many here, they are living some kind of disease now because of their excesses in life. A case like this is Andre Luis. Once he goes to the spiritual world, he goes there. He wasn't a suicidal, but he was a different type of suicidal, perhaps. The unconscious suicidal.
Unconscious
Yeah,
suicide.
what does that mean? Is, let's say, if you are, I'm not saying that you should stop smoking. I'm not blaming, I'm not saying anything about your smoking habit. If there is anyone who smokes, please don't get me wrong. But science and medicine proven more than 100 times now that cigarette kills us. So the case of Andre Luis, for example, he smoked quite a lot. That was one of the problems, not all problems. So because of his smoke quite a lot, maybe his life. Let's give an example. He's supposed to go live until his 70s, but he lived until he was 50. So an action that he did here, as the gospel says, an action done every day, all the time, for a long period of time, may kill ourselves without us wanting. But in his case, he was a doctor. He had the knowledge that, not the entire knowledge that we have nowadays, because André Luis, I think he passed away in 1910, 1920 maximum. So he didn't have all the knowledge that we have here nowadays. But he was a doctor. But if you take a doctor nowadays, if he dies, if he's in the same experience that André Luis will face in the spiritual world, then he's going to be in a big trouble, because he knew that cigarette would kill him. And maybe that cigarette killed him 20 years before. So I'm going to try to wrap up here. Sorry, Steven. But everything which is happening in our life does not come from a mean, a bad God, a meanful God. A mean God comes from a really good God. But everything which comes to us as a lesson, and everything has our free will involved on it. Sorry, Steven.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Vanessa is with us, and she's saying here this chapter is so important.
Oh, yeah.
It is the basics of everything. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us here, Vanessa. Thank you very much. So,
if we say something wrong, Vanessa, please let us know.
So, what we are saying here, in other words, what we want to say to you guys is there is no punishment. That is nothing. What we want to say is, if God know everything, He's omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, how He gonna give us a task that He knew we gonna fail, and He will punish us? There is no sense. There is no rationality behind it. So the point here is, we need to understand that that's always what Kardec says. We need to use our reasonable faith. Therefore, every single trial, every single expiation we are going through, it's because First of all, we have choose that point, and secondly, is because we can handle it. Even though you don't think you have strengths, even though you think you are not enabled to go through such an event, but I would say to you, yes, you do. The divine justice applies to everyone. If you are rich or if you are poor, if you are smart or if you are not smart, if you are spiritist or if you have another faith, this is gonna be the same to everyone, regardless age. It is the same. It is the same. Why? Because when we are able to prepare our reincarnatory plan, we just choose the expiation, the problems we will face once we understand what we did and why we did it. But now you can say to me, oh, if we choose the problems we're going to face, you or me, we don't have free will. It's totally different. Yes, we do free will, but our free will is limited. Is limited to according to our knowledge. Example of this is, I don't know if you guys, but I do have, if I had the mindset I have today, perhaps I will do different, I have done different choices I did in the past. Okay, but with this mindset. And the decisions I will do today, I will use all the knowledge I have today in order to make a decision. But this, perhaps in 5, 10, 1 year, I will have acquired more knowledge, more experiences, and I will see, wow, that decision I did like 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 2 months ago, it's wrong. And the point is, when you realize you did something wrong because you use at that time your full capacity, but now you have a different knowledge and you say, okay, I did something wrong, then when you realize it, you need to go back and redo what you did wrong. So you need to, if you harm someone, you need to approach that person. It's not saying, oh, I did something wrong to Wanderley. Yeah, but it's gone. I don't see Wanderley for many years, and that's it. No, at the moment when we realize we have made something that harms someone that is not according to our conscience, we need reach out to that person or that situation and really, truly ask for forgiveness. And if you can make up and fix that problem. And let's say what Divaldo used to say to us, if I did something wrong to Wanderley some time ago, and now I realize that what I did was wrong, and I come to Wanderley and ask for forgiveness, but Wanderley somehow to say, I don't forgive you because that happened in my life and it was related to that episode, it's Wanderley problem now, not my problem, because I was unable to recognize my mistake. I was able to reach out to Wanderley and apologize and explain your point of view. Explain a decision will not change the situation, But that act of reaching out and say, sorry, I screw up. I did something wrong here. Is there anything I can help you in order to fix it? How I can fix it? If the person says to you, no, I don't care, go away, I don't want to talk to you, it's okay. But at that moment, is she or his problem?
I think we have this conversation before. I understand what Steven's saying,
Yeah.
but from what he said, I have to bring a few things here, which wasn't the intention. But I agree with Steven. But let's remember, it's not because I went to Steven and asked sorry to him, and maybe he's really fed up and he doesn't want to forgive me. That's his problem. I'm okay. No, you may be okay because you gave the first step to fix that.
Yeah.
But Kardec explains to us in the book Heaven and Hell, in the penal, Código Penal do Futuro, the moral code of the future life, the moral code of the future life. Kardec explains to us that to ask forgiveness to someone, to try to redeem yourself is the first step only. But all that action which came from Steven's action, all that reaction which came,
The
is still gonna
consequence
be
of the actions, the consequence of
Yeah.
my actions. Yeah.
all the consequence which was from Steven's action is still he's gonna have to be dealing with that, not
No,
me.
yes.
Not
Yes.
just no. Okay, I didn't forgive Steven because perhaps what Steven did to me hurt me quite a lot. Of course, if Steven said to me, Wanderley, I broke your phone, I'm not gonna say I hate you for life and I'm not going to forgive you. It's okay. But perhaps if Steven did something really mean against me or against someone that I love, maybe it would take one reincarnation, in some cases even several reincarnations, for that spirit to be able to forgive that person. Yes, it's the problem of that spirit who did not forgive, but let's be quite clear. The consequence of the first action, Stephen, he asked forgiveness. Okay, first step, good for Stephen, but he's still gonna have to be dealing with that actions. Once that reactions, which came from his actions, it ended in the with time, basically, throughout a lot of um, a lot of situations which may come true. Then after that, Stephen is okay with the law of action and reaction. Then after that, he's okay. So it's a three-phase process here. First, you have to redeem yourself, deal with the consequence, and then after you deal with the consequence and everyone related to that is okay, then you're okay. Why I'm saying this? Because some people, especially in some religious movements, they say, "Oh, I did something bad for someone. I asked for that forgiveness for that person, and if that person doesn't want to forgive me, it's his problem. Because I'm gonna go and ask forgiveness to God, or I'm gonna go to the church, and the priest will say, "Oh, you are forgiven. You are forgiven by men, but the law of action reaction is still there." There is a huge difference, guys.
Yeah.
That's why I have to be careful. We have to deal with that's why you have to be responsible for the actions that we do. Emmanuel says so beautifully that a lot of us in the past who are having perhaps some affectionate problems, probably dealing related with relationships and in affection in general, we were those ones. That's not a rule, okay, guys? That's not a rule. But sometimes we were those ones in the past who played with people's feelings. Let me give an example. Let's say if in a previous life you were someone really handsome, a rich guy, and you used to play with all the girls in the place that you lived. So you broke several hearts, or you were a beautiful girl, very nice body and things like this. Then you played with all the guys, and one of that guy, because he loved you so much, he kills himself. That girl, maybe she said, "But I didn't do anything," but she's gonna have some responsibility of the from his suicidal. So what I'm trying to say, be aware that each action that we do, doesn't matter how small it is, sometimes it can generate a lot of suffering for us. And then it goes back to the point that we are bringing here in the book. Sometimes this suffering that comes from a previous life is from actions that we didn't realize that they were so bad, or they are from actions that we didn't really think that would harm anyone, but maybe that action harmed so many people and you are not aware. And then you come to this life and you say, oh, I'm a victim. I was Nero. I put fire in Rome. I was someone so mean. But no, maybe you are just a simple life, a simple person who just did bad things. So we have to be aware of our actions today. From before, we cannot do anything else. Then I agree with Stevan 100%. We have to move on. Whatever we did, what can I do? We cannot change, but we can start acting different. Like Chico Xavier said, though nobody can change their past, we can always start a new beginning. Then we keep going. Then we start to be even with the law of action and reaction. That's we start to go back to the good road, we can put it this way.
The right path.
The right path, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. And we can say here, how can we avoid those problems? I would say to you is doing the exercise of analyzing your actions. Make some checks if you are doing something wrong, if you're not doing something wrong, if you're harming someone. So we always need to make these checkpoints in order to scrutinize our own decisions. And again, guys, if you have any question, please send it to us. Let's see if you have any. If you're saying nonsense here, please speak up and let us know. Okay.
Steve, I think I agree with Vanessa like 1,000%, because this chapter, it's so important, guys, because as we said here before, sometimes we are in a really difficult position and we victimize ourselves. We don't want to take responsibility, but it's all related to us, to our responsibility. But we have, I think, a point here from Robbie. Go ahead, Stevan.
Rob is saying here, allowing ourselves as well as others to move forward. We should encourage all that are trying better themselves. That's it. That's it. Again, what Wanderley said here very wisely. Redeem yourself is the first step. Dealing with the consequences is the second step. But when you start to redeem yourself, it's kind of a new awakening for both parts. For all parts are involved. All the parts are involved in this situation. We need to work together. At the end, we are all together. Because if I have a problem with Wanderley and we start to redeem ourselves in this incarnation, for sure, guys, next incarnation we will be together, because I will be here to help him and he will be here to help me. That's why we need what is our most affected problem. I know your friends in US, you are not facing that problem because you're going in everywhere, but here in Ireland we have restrictions. We are about like 4 months without permission to go away 5 kilometers from your home. Now you can go 20 kilometers from your home, but you cannot go interstate. You cannot do any interstate travel. Okay, so here in Ireland we are affected, and what's more affecting us is the relationship, this this ability to interact with people, to live together. So this is affecting us. I don't know. I know Wanderley is affecting Wanderley badly, and affecting me badly as well. I don't see all my friends. I don't see, and when see them, we are impulsionate to hug, to say, to shake hands, or even to give a kiss. But no, hey, how are you? This kind of lack of interaction prove to us that we need each other. Even though who are causing problems to you, you need them. Because the problems they are causing to you, perhaps it is the trigger that's gonna make you get off of your comfort zone and move on and see a new world, discover different things, acquire more knowledge, and having different situations. So we need this. Like Don here, he's in Texas now. I bet Don is melting. He's visiting family, so he can go to Texas. He came from Chicago to Texas to see family. I cannot go from where I live to Dublin to see that guy beside me here.
Very true. To make sushi
as well. So enjoy it. Enjoy it, Don. Enjoy it. Use this time you are having with your family. Nobody's perfect. Everybody have your highest points, your lowest points, but that's the life. If you are the person who only have highest points, I'm so sorry, you reincarnate in a wrong planet. Perhaps you joined the wrong queue and you reincarnate in a different in a different world. But the point here is everybody here is full of good points, bad points, and everyone needs each other to grow. And going to this, everybody's talking now, regenerated world. I guarantee to you guys, we are not even we are perhaps in the first stage of this process.
First kilometer.
I don't know. Kilometer? No, I'm saying the first centimeters of this process, because we're gonna reach there. Okay, law of progress is it's there and applies brilliantly. Okay, law of progress is always there. However, what we need to understand is, if you are here, that's what we have to fight. Like, if you have a profession, but it's not what you willing to, but you don't have money or you don't have possibility in order to do what you do, what I'm saying to you is try to love what you are doing right now. Do this with passion. Do this with love. Do this with all your efforts in order to help someone. Even though if you are a physician, or if you are a customer call agent, or if you are a cleaner, do it with your love. Because everything we do and you put our love, change everything. Change everything. Okay. So Don, it's perhaps seeing Linda. I don't know if Linda is with us today, but both are watching from Texas. And I know in Texas, particularly in Texas, everybody it's allowed to move, free move, no masks, no closing shops, everything is
Really?
all the restrictions were lifted. So Texas is one of the states in the United States that don't apply restrictions anymore.
Yeah, I hope that's not gonna backlash the country
Yeah.
or the state.
So far, what they are saying so far so good. So, but we are talking about a country who vaccinated, I don't know, perhaps 80%, 90% of the population.
Yeah,
No.
let's see.
Meanwhile, here in Ireland, we are struggling with all this, but that's not politics. It's not our position here today. Don't say here. She's a long way south of me. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Let me see here.
But Steven, just before we finish here, you mentioned about the word of regeneration. One thing that you have to remember, guys, once we go to item 8 of the Gospel according to Spiritism in this chapter, we have to understand that we are having this suffering also because of the stage that we are and the spirits that we are. As Steven said, we are not perfect. We still gonna make so many mistakes, so many wrong things, and we did plenty of them before. But that's natural to the stage that we are, to the world that we live, which is the world of atonement and expiation, change to the regeneration now. Okay, so we should not expect a world of only happiness, kind of a beautiful world with flowers everywhere, with no suffering, no trouble. That's not the stage that we are right now. Why am I saying this? Because once we understand that Earth, that there are progressions, as Steven mentioned, the law of progression, the law of that everything is made to evolve, we're gonna get there eventually. But before we get there, we have to pass through the process. And there is no free lunch, as they say. There is no way for changing to here to here. Of course, if the spirit really live his reincarnation in the best way possible, if once you are in the spiritual world, you accomplish most of the things that you said you were going to accomplish, happy days for you. You give a big jump in your evolution. However, I remember Chico Xavier saying once that 90% of the spirits who come back to the spiritual world, they don't really accomplish much because we forget things, and that's expected to do. But once we forget things and we start to go to a different direction, then we are suffering, then we are acquiring more debts in the law of action and reaction. So what we have to understand is this, that this that's why Jesus said before, happiness is not of this world yet. I think Jesus didn't say yet, but I'm adding yet here. Happiness is not of this world. What he was trying to say, the stage that we are, we cannot be 100% happy. And we're not gonna be 100% happy on earth for a good while. Even once we are in the higher of regenerating the higher peak of the regeneration world. Because regeneration world, we always say this, is not a happy world. Regeneration world is, we have evil and you have good. They are here, they are dancing with each other. Sometimes you're going to have more good, sometimes you're going to have more evil. Once we pass the regeneration world, then once we go to what's the next stage, Steve? I always forget the name in English.
The regeneration after regeneration word.
Yeah, it's not a pure. I forgot the name.
It's a happy word, you know.
Yeah, it's happy. It's a happy word, but I think there is a proper name for that. Once we are in that stage, then yes, we're gonna have 70% goodness and 30% of evil. Once we really go to a really 100% happy world, that's when evil is left over from Earth. But it's not because God said, okay, now I want to take all the evil from earth and bye bye, evil. No, because we have improved. Because Kardec says in the Genesis, last chapter, um, the world evolves because the spirits who are living in that club, in that world, are evolving. It's not the world which evolve itself, it's us who are inside. And because of our psychosphere, our energy is better, then earth starts to change. We said that about that last week.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
guys, if you want to be happy, we have to do our parts. If you don't play your part in the game, do not expect Stevan, the good spirits, whoever we say, Jesus, Chico Xavier, whoever to do your part. You
yeah.
have to be a game player here.
Yeah, we can use now an Irish quote. We cannot make an omelette without breaking the eggs. So we need to do our omelette, but first
Yes.
we need to break the eggs.
But that's the TV's thing. Imagine Teteia now breaking the eggs to make her omelette. What is she gonna be doing? A bit of mess. And
Yeah,
that's natural. Once we are going to this process, we make mess, guys. But we start to improve. The test is going to be growing. She's going to say, okay, before I should do a lot of mess, now I'm making less mess. And that's us, guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. And I thank you, Paula. Paula gave a very good thought for us here. I believe we should keep going step by step, paying attention in our thoughts and actions. All human beings are able to get better. Or that's
Oh,
it.
yeah,
The example of the omelette here. We will get there.
that's it. Yeah.
Like a child, like Wanderley said, if you give two eggs, a bowl, and a pan to a child of 5 years old to do omelette, you're gonna be a mess, you know. But if you give this to a French chef to ask you for omelette, you're gonna eat the best omelette of your life, you know.
Yeah.
Why? Just because the chef had more skills. He learned, he passed through the process, he make all these things, he made a lot of mess in order to reach that perfection. No? So that's the process. No, let's do our omelette. Many times, but we have to do it. That is no, and you will do your own omelette. Nobody gonna do it
That's
for
it.
you. So you will do it. It's you. Nobody will suffer from you for you. Nobody gonna be happy for you. Everybody can support you, but you are the only one who go through these tests. I would say these tasks. It's only you with supporting of others, but you have to do it. You need to put your hands on this job and do it. That's why we keep saying here, do not, the message, because you need to wrap up here, that the final message is, instead of spending your time to find someone who caused you the problem, to put the problems you are having now, and you say, oh God, you are punishing me, or I am this situation just because of Wanderley, I am this situation because of this or that. Instead of try to find someone to point the fingers, what you need to do is, okay, you know that, stop. Okay, everything's a mess. We have eggshells everywhere. We have a lot of things. Okay, what do you need to do? Let's start to cleaning this mess, and we start again. That's what you have to do. I think that's the message today. Is everything's upside down? Stop. Have a deep breath. Analyze. Redo again. This won't guarantee you make a good omelette. Perhaps you're gonna make a mess again. If you make a mess again, stop again. Restart. This is the life.
That's it.
This is the life. I'm hungry now with all these omelettes.
Me too. Oh God, me too.
Yeah, I'm hungry now with all these omelettes. Well, okay. Yeah. That's the beauty to be here in Europe. We can go to France and eat a good omelette, But not anymore. See? We cannot do it.
Oh yeah.
But see the good point. A lot of people, because of this lockdown, develop their chef skills. So many people we can see in the Facebook where people putting like, look, I did, so they improve their skills,
True.
But it's practice. It's all practice. Okay. My friends, can you guide us on our final prayer?
But do you have any announcements to say about Thursday, about the other meeting after our live?
Yeah, well, let's skip this. No, we will have some announcement for Thursday for the Spiritual Light program show. But the point is, we will change the time and day, the Spiritual Light show from next week. Will be on Wednesday at 7 p.m. London time. So it's not anymore 9 p.m. on Thursday. Will be on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Okay? So, but this is happening just next week. This week, normal time, Thursday, 9 p.m. London time. Okay? And Thursday, we have here, I don't know if it's going to be Nate or Samantha, but one of the girls will join me. So, thank you very much. Like Wanderley is saying, putting here, don't forget to like, to give it a thumbs up. Not because we need that. It's because as much as you give this, more the video will have views and we will spread the word.
That's it, yeah.
Okay? We don't need likes. We are not monetizing anything here.
Yeah.
No. We don't.
Far from it.
Yeah, okay, yes, so for sure. We need your likes in order to make this message, these talks, reach as much as possible other brothers and sisters. Okay, Wanderley. So.
Okay, let me do the final prayer. Okay. So for those who feel comfortable, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Dear God, we would like to be thankful. We would like to thank for the lives that we have, for this opportunity to be talking about Spiritism one more time here in Ireland. But also, we would like to reach all those who are suffering at the moment, those who perhaps lost someone, those perhaps who are having some difficulties in their family or some difficulty with the COVID-19. Please, dear Lord, help them. If you cannot make their pain go away, give it to them knowledge, give to them clarity in their hearts, in their souls, to understand that every difficulty in life will pass, and that you are a loving Father a father who always wants the best to their children. And also, dear Lord, we would like to ask especially for all those who are thinking about suicide or those who are having this kind of suicidal thoughts, and all those brothers and sisters who passed away through suicide. May the good spirit support them in the spiritual world. May Mary, the Mother of Jesus, support and guide them. May all the light reach their hearts. May all the doctors and nurses of the spiritual world help them to understand of their passage, and may they be blessed with a next reincarnation in order to keep progressing. Thank God, and so be it.
Thank you, guys. I'll see
See
you
you
on
guys.
Thursday. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So, Don, be careful with the barbecue sauce over there. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.